So the hypernatural is the natural that's already reproduced by humans. It's things like the Einstein-Weil space-time medium, where we think of absence as something that sits next to presence, something that's has structure, or even equations themselves, or the concepts they use, like force and entropy, or mental illness, or these are all categories that we lay over nature, and then we start to think of it as nature itself. Like, nobody questions Einstein's space. It's not really Einstein's space-time. It's the actual hidden medium part with the bending space-time. That was other physicists like Henry Weil is his last name. They popularized the kind of like the curved space-time picture, whereas Einstein was purely mathematical. He thought of the theory as purely mathematical. That's the other thing, is that what does that mean? I mean, are they saying that there's some hidden realm of existence that's composed of equations that, and the mechanics of these moving equations create the rest of existence? Or do they mean that mathematics is pre-existential, like it's not part of existence? So the hypernatural does not conceal the natural. In fact, we don't even have a very nuanced sense of natural to begin with. We just kind of think like the Egyptians did, that there's like a sphere that's rotating, and there's all these other spheres that we're doing a dance around. And that's about as far as our mind goes. But so it's not even concealing that. The hypernatural is all the ideas that are useful in making a model of the natural if you reconfigure all the pieces like a puzzle of ideas. See, it's just that everyone is fragmented and they all come up with their own idea. It's not that the ideas are wrong in themselves, it's just that their application is wrong, and they have to be all put together integrated into a puzzle, as opposed to being all fragmented and have nothing to do with each other. And where there's competing factions and things like that over ideas, where I'm saying that all ideas are sort of true and false. It's just how they're used in the puzzle of ideas. Sorry, I'm trying to park. So, certain things, if you want me to go further in elaborating on what I mean by natural, I mean that there's more than one scale of existence, for example. And all the scales of existence, they come in pairs, and they all have three parts. And the reason that they come in pairs and they have three parts, an example is abdomen, thorax, head, which the best example of that is like an insect, especially like a bee, where it has the head and this little midsection and then this big behind. And then the next scale down is organ system, organ, tissue. And that's a pair of scales. And then pairs of scales come in threes, like outer cell, nucleus, and nucleolus. And what's the next one? Let's see. Yeah, there's a augmented tertiary protein that gets combined into a quaternary, what's called a quaternary protein. It's really a quaternary structure. And then there's a network of quaternary structures within the cell. That's the next pair. And then the next pair down is primary, secondary, and tertiary folding of a protein. And then uh, exon gene and the promoter sites for the expression of the gene. And so you see, like, there's this 3 pairs of scales, and that's 3 parts of a hyperscale. And then there's 3 pairs of hyperscales that form a superscale. And then there's a pair of superscales. So it has like a 3 of 2 of 3 of 2 of 3 of 2 structure. And I know you don't really know what I mean by all that. That's okay for now. Just, I'm saying that there's like a pre-existential blueprint. Then it's a 3 of 2 of 3 of 2 of 3 of 2 structure that sort of defines the scales of existence. And it's like that because the bottom of existence has a 2 of 3 of 2 of 3 of 2 of 3 coordinate system. That means, for example, the atom, there's a 3-dimensional, and then the stick figures, you see the molecular stick figure models, that's another coordinate system. And then there's the array, like a crystalline structure. And then existence overall has like a crude coordinate system that's 3 dimensions, but it's not like defined like a stick figure model is, where it looks like, it's like sticks. That's another point, is about this hypernatural, is theorists will project like a macroscopic model onto the microscopic world, because with a light telescope you can only see like structures in the cell. You can't see actual molecules, or you don't see stick figures, let alone atoms or anything like that. That's a built-up thing from laser bombarding stuff with lasers, laser spectroscopy, or electron scattering. But that's a built-up thing. It's not something you're seeing directly. So I'm saying that the only thing that's nature that's not projected onto that is, you'd have to say that it's not composed of anything at all. That what we see are what I call symbolic matter. There are no atoms, it's symbolic matter. It's just the perturbations in these otherwise microscopically, or this microscopic realm that has a resolvability limit. And I'm saying that resolvability limit, that bottom, there's nothing else. It's not like turtles all the way down. And that's because of this 3 of 2 of 3 of 2 of 3 of 2 structure. It actually limits it to 36 scales, even though there's only actually 30 for more complicated reasons. But also, it's filling out the spectrum of ideas. It uses infinity, and so it's hierarchically finite, but it's linearly infinite. And it couldn't have been the other way around. There's only one order that works. And we'll get to what that's all about. But the 3 of 2 of 3 of 2 of 3 of 2 structure, and I said that it complemented the 2 of 3 of 2 of 3 of 2 of 3 structure. That's important because it's a symmetrical asymmetry. And I'm going to show that existence, or nature itself, is composed of these symmetrical asymmetries. And it's because it precedes explanation. To give you a quick reason why, if you look at like a garden, you plant seeds in a garden, and they only sprout in some places and not others, we automatically ask why. Why here, not there? Or why before and not now? It's always when there's an asymmetry when we ask why. And if we can make it symmetrical or symmetrically asymmetrical, then we don't ask why. And that's why I find the 3 of 2 of that's why I find it interesting. It's like a yin and it's an explanation of the yin and yang kind of idea. Not just saying yin and yang, but saying why it has to be like that. Anyway, I'm here.